One of the drugs, pharmaceutical drugs, that has been the subject of a lot of attention in the media recently are opioids. Opioids are painkillers made from opium. That's why they call them opioids. And so the manufacturers of these drugs have flooded them onto the market. They were initially designed for the kind of excruciating pain that a cancer patient sometimes experiences, particularly a terminal cancer patient. They were really reserved for those kinds of very limited circumstances. But the pharmaceutical manufacturers saw a larger market. And so they started marketing them to pregnant women who had lower back pain from carrying their babies, or young mothers who were carrying toddlers, or people who were recovering from knee surgery. In fact, I remember that I had knee surgery and I was prescribed an opioid. I tried taking it one time and I realized it just made me feel really odd. So I stopped. But what happened is that people who didn't stop became very addicted very quickly. And that was despite representations by the pharmaceutical manufacturers that it wasn't addictive. One in particular, called Purdue Pharma, made the drug OxyContin. And their claim was that because it was time released, it wouldn't be addictive. Well, that was completely false. Not only was it false, they knew it was false. And between Purdue Pharma and Johnson & Johnson, they have flooded the country with these drugs. And the distributors like McKesson and Cardinal, some of the others, have really been complicit in just ignoring that the amounts they're distributing to communities far exceeded what any community could possibly legitimately need. Doctors were running what they call pill mills, who were making hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars, hand over fist, by prescribing these drugs and filling the prescriptions and then submitting it to insurance. And all the different layers of the healthcare system were really implicated in this. For that reason, we were hired by Travis County to represent them in the national opioid litigation because of the costs that the county has incurred in trying to treat people. Every time a paramedic goes out to an opioid overdose and they have to use Narcan, well, that costs the county money, and that means it costs taxpayers money. And that amounts to millions of dollars just to the county where Austin, Texas is, Travis County. But there are hundreds, thousands of municipalities around the country experiencing the same kinds of costs. And so that litigation has really produced quite a significant reaction. There are thousands of cases pending in states and in federal courts around the country, and the defendants are trying to negotiate resolutions. It was just last week a $27 billion settlement agreement hammered out in principle with Johnson & Johnson. Whether that ultimately solves the problem or not remains to be seen. Similarly, Texas recently negotiated a $270 million settlement with some of the manufacturers, and the distributors are expected to also negotiate a separate agreement that will add to that. The hope is that money can then be used to ameliorate the problem, to abate the problem, provide treatment to people, because it's not just addiction. Addiction leads to homelessness. Addiction and homelessness lead to crime or domestic violence, another form of crime. It's just a cascading event that creates systemic problems in our communities, and we have to deal with it.